Hey,
No.
welcome to No Vacancy Live. Anthony, bizarrely enough, this is going to be our last live show, but do not worry, folks out there. We're not going away. We're just changing formats. How you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling good. I just got off a plane celebrating my 60th birthday from Vegas. It was fun. Our friend, I'll tell you something. Our friends in Vegas, uh, at all the hotels treated me very, very well. I felt very special.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
I may have full blown diabetes after this weekend because they made me a lot of beautiful birthday cakes. So
Well, I'm really, really happy to hear that you had such a great time. It's really funny because I was there in Vegas earlier in the week attending the Wyndham conference, but we may have seen each other at the airport.
what day were you there?
Beginning of the week, I got there Sunday. I saw Santana finally, and I left Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I finally got over to the Sphere. Our friends at
Oh,
the Sphere. Yep, it was great, and yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Did you go see Kenny Chesney?
The first real vacation that I got on a plane to do nothing in 8 years, so it was fun.
Wow. So this story here perfectly illustrates why No Vacancy Live is going to a recorded format, because Anthony's always one place, I'm always somewhere else, and trying to get together has been nearly impossible. Plus, all of our lives have kind of shifted, and we don't need to be live necessarily anymore in order to help bring you guys great impact, which is really a shame that we're going to switch from the live format, because there's this new feature here now over here in Anthony's corner. When someone puts up a comment, it'll just come up automatically if we set it for that. But we're not going to get to it. Yeah, we're not going to get to use that on this show.
All right, let's stay live.
Yeah.
But no, it's man, how many years since we pushed the live button?
5 years about 5 years and 2 months, because we started in March 2020. We were doing recorded broadcasts separately, 2 different shows prior to that. At the beginning of COVID, we united, created the No Vacancy Live product, although we didn't have a name for a few months as we were in panic mode, just going on trying to help the community. And it kind of went from there. Now, 5 years later, man, we've been doing shows a lot, 5 days a week. I'm still doing shows 4 days a week. It's freaking exhausting trying to do that. So I think I think this is gonna be a good move for us.
Yeah, and how many podcasts? This will be our what podcast?
This is 950. I'm not quite sure of the exact number. Oh yeah, Dave is writing here 2 guests per show to start. So yeah, we had a lot of shows in those early days where we had 2, 3, 4 guests, and we would just process things for like an hour.
Yeah, and but it feels longer and it feels not as long, so it's weird. It's definitely doesn't feel like almost 1,000 guests, but it feels 5 years, like we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little, or feels a little bit longer. But yeah, and I wish the show, the last live show, wasn't me coming off an airplane where my eyes look so small that I look like I'm still sleeping.
It's all right. I got a burned hand over here and a burned forehead. If everybody's wondering, it's not a pimple; it's a burn over there. If you're listening to the audio feed, maybe this will encourage you to check out the video feed. See Anthony's tired eyes and my face burn. So we got that going for us.
You still look handsome. So what's the one, before we bring in our wonderful producers? What's the one thing? Let's ask Glenn and ask Anthony. Let's ask each other 1 or 2 questions. So what is the one most memorable moment of the podcast? I have one. It just popped in my head as I asked you the question. What's the one memorable moment that
all right. I would say immediately popping into my head would be the first moment, the day we did it with the doctor in Manhattan as COVID was starting and we had no clue what was going on. We went to dinner after the live broadcast. We were kind of like, what the heck is going on? And then as I was driving home, all of my clients canceled. That's what I remember.
Hey, Daniel, what's up, buddy? I missed you. I was over at the Nomad today. I missed you. Yesterday. We had dinner. It was great. That's funny because that is definitely wasn't my number one memory.
What's yours?
But now that I think about it, this is kind of the number one memory. But you know what I remember from that? I was going into the Mark Hotel for a drink and everything being super, super, super weird.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Everyone's sitting like we were out of some kind of sci-fi movie. Everybody's like looking at each other and, who has a mask on, who doesn't have a mask on. Should we get close to people? Shouldn't we get close to people? It was really, really strange. And yeah, Dr. Primus was our first doctor.
Yep.
Give us information. And Dr. Primus is a hotel doctor. Real quick, let's jump. Let me just explain who he is.
Mhm.
Dr. Ronald Primus, I met him at the Plaza Hotel back in 1991, and he was the house doctor. Because people, when they need a doctor, they don't want to leave. If they could afford it, we bring in our house doctor. He comes, we give him a list of people, but usually they pick Dr. Primus, and he goes upstairs and he takes care of them. So he's been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years. He's an infectious disease specialist, I believe.
Mhm. Yep.
And he does all the A-list celebrities in Manhattan, and he's a very known doctor in Manhattan. And he, during the pandemic, was in his full white outfit, going to people's homes, and kind of driving around the city, going to people's homes that had COVID to treat them. So it was kind of scary for him too. And I really appreciate that he took care of us. And I think he's been on the show 2 or 3 times.
Mhm.
So that's a great memory. I will tell you, there was a memory that wasn't on the show. And I won't tell you who it was, but it was somebody, it was about the show. And he was the president of a major major chain, hotel chain.
Mhm.
And he pulled me aside. I don't know if you were standing with me or not. I don't remember. And he said, "What you guys have done for us, we'll never forget." Because during that time when we were meeting with our executive team through Zoom or Teams,
Yeah.
we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And we didn't know what the hell everybody else was doing. But seeing your show, we realized no one knew what the hell they were doing. and that even though we faked it and we had public announcements and we seemed like we were in complete control, everyone was scared. And your show really helped us understand that we were all in the same boat. And I remember the line of people that wanted to be on our show. I remember everybody wanted to be on the show. I remember everybody was watching it at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock every single day. Must watch television, because we were all trying to learn from each other. So for me, we didn't start out to, hey, let's do this public service, thing, but it really turned out to be that thing. And I think it helped us more than it helped anybody else.
I would argue.
I needed something to throw my energy to.
Yeah, totally. You and me both gave us purpose, and thankfully we were able to help everyone in the industry and kind of work together. But the good news is the industry has thrived over a number of years and our shows thrive. But one of the things that we've noticed is while we're still getting incredible amounts of views per episode, they've started to spread out, got a little bit more long tail. So I want to thank everybody for not just watching live when you used to, but now continuing to watch at your leisure, sharing those shows, commenting on it as the days and weeks go by with each episode. So I really appreciate that. Yeah.
And let's also acknowledge our competition, people who are doing, friends of ours, whether David and his team or whether it be other people that have had on our show. I think our competitors, there's a lot more of them. And I think we set the stage for people to realize, hey, you can do this. You can do this at a high, level. And it's entertainment. So I think the more competitors we have, floats all boats. I'm okay with it. We'll continue to try to annihilate everyone, but we welcome everybody to compete.
And I would like to take the opposite tack. I would say competitors go away. I can't handle it anymore. And if you're interested in podcasting, it's a dead end business. So don't try.
It's really, it is great that people are doing it. You see it more and more. And but listen, we're really kind of the pioneers of it, especially live. And your Rolodex is 3 times the size of everybody else's. So.
Oh, well, we'd like to stay in touch with people, and this show's been a great opportunity to get to know so many people, and I'm looking forward to get to knowing all of you. The best part is we're going to be able to do it when everybody's schedules align. All right, let's
What's amazing is we did it with zero help from our producers.
That's right. So to make fun of them for their slackerness and laziness, let's celebrate Dr. Producer Suzanne and producer Dave. Hey, thanks for nothing, guys.
I had zero part of this at all.
Dave, I feel very scared that you're wearing a suit and tie.
Well, Dave occasionally is let out of his producing bunker to do real stuff. I think, right,
I
Dave?
don't subscribe to the Glenn Houseman no tie policy of
But
attire.
do you wear a tie every day to work?
I do.
I didn't know that.
I do. I
Yeah.
learned from somebody to present myself as best as possible. I won't say who.
I just want to, I want to say that I also one thing that I've managed to do over this show that I'm most proud of is converting Anthony from yelling at me from not dressing fancy enough to sometimes he wears sweat gear and definitely wears no ties a lot like now. So
Very rarely do I wear sweat gear. Maybe once. But the tie thing, you know what? I would like to say I did it because of you, but I didn't. I did it because it made everybody else feel uncomfortable. Even when I go to, I do speaking gigs. Like no one wears ties anymore, and it makes people feel a little uncomfortable. But so and this is, I think this is my little look, so it's okay. And you've upped your game as far as your dressing. So
Agreed. I've seen Glenn wear jackets to events now. It's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's because I went to that stylist last year. Yeah.
You got to look, if you're going to be important, you got to look important. Right?
Yeah.
That was the lesson I learned, and hence
Mhm.
trying to jazz it up.
Stepped it up.
You are.
Act as if, and to bring it back to the show, we've been acting as this is a real podcast for all of the years. So why stop now? So Suzanne, you came aboard a little bit later than Dave and the rest of us. What was it like jumping into something in the middle?
Well, I think that was right after Dave had gotten a job. And I remember being on the sidelines watching you guys all the time and catching mistakes and sending them to you and saying, Glenn, wait, I can help you. And then just jumped on board and really cannot believe how 4 years has passed by to engage. It's an amazing opportunity to continue what you started. And even though the time, you went from 5 days and you went from having 2 guests a day to eventually down to 3 days. It's been a part of our lives for now 4 years of what this is like.
Yeah, it's gonna be really weird not having to do something at noon every single day. Hopefully I won't gain back all that weight with all that free time I have at noon.
So Dave, what's your favorite part of doing the show?
The favorite part of doing the show is, honestly, this is going to sound very, very boring, I guess, but it really has been just getting closer to you and Glenn. Glenn and I were working together since.
That's been my least favorite part of the show.
Well, I can't have it all, but Glenn and I started working together in 2018 or 2019, and we met a couple times, Anthony, but we didn't really ever work together because you guys were doing a different show than I was helping Glenn with. And then as this came about, got to meet and know both of you a lot better. And that's truly been my favorite part. Again, it's kind of chalk to say that, but that's the reality. But also meeting so many other people in the industry and getting close with so many other people in the industry. And it's just been a wonderful experience to be able to do that.
What's wild is Dave and I still have not met in person.
We have
no way. I say that every time. That's great.
We were supposed to meet and click, and it didn't happen.
That's really interesting because me and Glenn have never met in person.
Yeah. So the first ever episode of No Vacancy is June 2nd, 2016. So next week is the 9th anniversary of the No Vacancy podcast.
You know what we should do, Glenn? We should really, to thank our friends at Garden City, we should go over there and do some tape shows over there because they really helped us a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, we really should. We'll reach out to Grady. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're on a specific day schedule, it should be not too hard to get done.
Yeah, and I also want to thank all our guests. I would say for the most part, everybody showed up on time. Everybody was prepared. And for those people who ghosted us and didn't show up on time, you're not invited back.
And to that one guest who gave us a really, really hard time after
exactly who you're talking about.
And I apologized multiple times, and you would not accept an apology. Thanks for that.
Thanks for nothing.
I didn't invite back either. And also, only the couple of times when I look down and I'm typing, that might be a guess that were boring us.
You mean the immediate group text? Let's wrap.
Yeah.
Get me out of this. That's only happened literally less than a handful of times.
My favorite move is at 12:29. You'll be like, I have a hard out in 1 minute.
or like I'll text again. This only happened a couple of times where I text you like at 12:05. I'm like, get me out of this, and you're like, you have to do a few more minutes. Like, no.
And I know exactly specifically which times those were, because it is few and far between, but it's also where when it happened, it was like all of us were like, yep, nope, this isn't going to work the way we thought it was.
If listen, and with all due respect, because everybody's been great, even the people that weren't. This is not what people do for a living.
That's
So,
right.
and you know, as hard as it is for us to realize people would be nervous coming on our show, but people are nervous coming on our show sometimes, which is fascinating. And Oprah once said, and I know this myself, I was just on an interview, and the first thing I said to the person was, how'd I do? Right? So no matter who you are, no matter how long you've been doing this, the first thing that Oprah said that people ask could be the President of the United States say, how'd I do? And it's true. People, it's uncomfortable seeing yourself and hearing yourself. And being on, again, think about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, growing up, we like nobody was on TV, right? Yeah, I had a TV show. I have a TV career for a long time, but that the rarest thing in the world is to have a TV show. So now everybody has a TV show, right? You have a podcast, you have a TV show. Because I was talking to somebody. I was in Vegas, and I'll tell you, I get noticed a lot, but this was like crazy.
This last week?
Seconds, like people were stopping me, asking me about my TV show. But the person asked me, stopped me and said, I love your podcast. I was like, oh, thank you very much. It was like, you watched the show? Yeah, I watched the show, but I really, really like the podcast. I was like, oh, okay. So, we've been on so long that, it really penetrated and really I think has really, really made a big difference.
Do you remember, Anthony, when our first remote at Mohegan Sun, we were doing the first Anthony on the Go, and as we were moving around Mohegan, like 2 or 3 people on the escalator literally stopped dead as much as they could on an escalator and were like screaming at Anthony, like, it's Anthony Mercuri, I love your show. It was
I don't remember that, but I do remember you screwing up the first time.
Oh, that's very, very true.
I remember us all screwing up the first few times going live on the location.
What was the one that pissed me off the most? And it was nobody's fault. It was just what it was. But I remember I felt like throwing all the equipment off the roof because it was so important to me. It was at the Rockaway Hotel.
I forgot about how horrible that was. But to be fair, that was their fault because their internet sucked.
No, they were not. It was not their fault, my friend. They're my friends. It was not their fault.
It was their internet provider's fault for not selling them, for not giving them what they sold them on.
Nothing to do with their internet. I'm just saying, we're not placing blame at all, Glenn. And because I wanted to do such a good job for them, and I wanted to do it was so important for me. It was really, really, really frustrating. That's when I wanted for all the equipment.
Well, I want to place some blame on us for the Borgata show.
The Borgata was great.
What?
The setup was terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
For 30 seconds before going live until we had it ready, but we had it ready and it went really well.
The best show we've ever done was in Vegas when I was there by myself and you saw all the equipment. And I did such a spectacular job. I think that was the best show we've ever done. And I didn't have any producers or any other hosts with me. I would say that was the number one show in the history of our show.
Yeah.
That was a good show. It was actually really cool with that show because if you remember correctly, that was when they opened up the casino while we were on air.
Yep.
And behind Anthony was nobody for the first half an hour. And then the second half an hour was getting really busy. And that was a cool part of that show.
You have a good memory. And what's so funny, being in Vegas during that time, like, I've been to Vegas 1,000 times, not as much as Glenn. He's been there 1,000,000. But I did Vegas stuff this time. I went to the fountains. Remember, we were there when you guys were there when the fountains closed, and then when you and I accidentally were filming after COVID, and it's like, okay, the fountains in Vegas opening for the first time after COVID was a big deal in our industry. And all of a sudden, we're talking, and boom, they went on. Well, I saw the fountain show the other day. It was amazing. I did all and then I went down to downtown Vegas. Then I did the Vegas Flamingo show. I did all the Vegas-y things.
That's all. That's awesome. I want to go back to what Rachel is saying. Hey, Rachel says, I've learned in marketing you will never be fully prepared for a live. That is absolutely true. But what you learn over time is how to deal with whatever is thrown at you. So you may not be prepared for anything, but hopefully you've done enough reps that you're definitely prepared to deal with with stuff that comes your way.
I think that just comes from confidence, and also realizing you're probably not going to look as stupid as you think you're going to look. And if you do, who cares? And I think one of the things that we've really brought to a professional level is looking really dumb and not caring. I think I think we might be in the professional leagues of looking dumb and not caring. I think we
totally agree.
We may be in the
and I will say, Anthony, it's a great point, because for all of you potential content creators and stuff out there, you've got to, I think, get to that point where you don't think everything is such high stakes that if you make a mistake, everything is going to go away. The more that we've done this, the more confident we've become, the more we realize that if you can just be yourself, warts and all, the more connected the audience is going to be to you.
And you just said the word connected. And I think really the word going for me, this has been a really big birthday for me, because I've never really cared about birthdays. And this was a big birthday because I'm excited about turning 60. I'm the most excited I've been since I turned 21, because I know I'm going to shift in a dramatic way. And I just haven't figured it out yet. But one of the things I'm shifting to is
a new walk.
We're talking about AI, we're talking about technology, but the number one thing that we have to connect to is connections with one another, whether it be through friendships or whether it be through real connections, and getting away from technology, because technology is going to be there. Technology is now taking over our lives. But if we can teach people how to make real connections, and I think the one thing that's one word that's overused, it's definitely overused for me, is authenticity. People say he's the most authentic guy. And it's true. I am authentic. And I think that as you go on, you want to do podcasts, or you want to interview people, or you want to start a business, or you want, tell people when you screw up, tell people when you do something good, and just be authentic and connect in a real way. I think the thing that we're missing, not only in podcasting, but in life, is that we forgot how to connect. And everything that we're doing right now is like, when you look at AI helps us, get an answer that's out there already. So AI gives us the tools that we really already have, but AI can't help us on how to connect to somebody. AI can't figure out what that really on that person's mind, or feel what that person really is saying one thing but feeling something else. And that's what I think, especially in the hospitality business, that we really got to do. And I will say this without hesitation: the connectivity in the hospitality business is at trauma level. It is in the ICU. It is in really bad shape. Outside of the really, really high-end hotels that do it really, really well, or maybe the mom and pops that do it really well, but by and large, our service industry with real connectivity, connecting to people, is an emergency room, in my opinion.
No, I think that's absolutely true.
And that's why you got to keep watching shows like No Vacancy No Longer Live, because we're going to educate and empower you to be more successful and connect better with customers.
Is that going to be the new logo? No Longer Live?
Yeah. No, I might have to go with not live. It'll fit a little bit better.
Or just put delayed, because that'll answer all the questions.
We had the little scroll I used to put up there that this show is pre-recorded. So
for your viewing pleasure.
Pre-recorded. Do you guys have, we've done so many episodes, but is there one specific episode or guest that really stands out to you guys as kind of being that top one?
There's one little young lady, can't remember her name, don't remember even what she looks like or who she worked for, but I remember how she made me feel. And I got the note from Glenn, because just so everybody knows, I prepare a lot for the show. So my preparation is probably 2 minutes into the show, I go, Glenn, who's this person?
Yeah.
And he said, no, before, it was actually right before the show, I go, who's on? And he was like this marketing person. And like, person's maybe in marketing for 35 seconds, very young. And I was like, oh my God, really? Okay, so we do the show, and I think this was one of the sharpest human beings I've ever met in my life.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you remember who she was, what her name was?
I'm pretty sure you're talking about Emily.
Okay, was I? And
I
who's
think
Emily?
Emily Daly.
Yeah.
Okay, how'd she come?
I'm pretty sure it's who you were talking.
Remind me who she is. Remind me who-
She was a graduate from IRSC. She was a VP for, was it First Hospitality?
She was just about to leave there.
Yep.
to
And then
start
she
her own
ended
thing.
up opening up her own business.
She was amazing. If that's the one I'm thinking about, she was absolutely amazing. So it's not all the people with the credentials and the the titles. It's those people who are young and fresh, and they just but really had the mind of a person with 40 years experience, and was very, very open. I'll never forget that. And also the show, like, I met so many people through this podcast, and my 60th birthday in Vegas was probably as good as it was because a lot of those people I think I met on the show, and they really hooked me up, and they really took care of me, and they really made sure it was special for me. And I usually, like I said, don't need it, want to care about it. I run from that stuff, but I kind of wanted it, and I got it, and it was all because all these connections I've made throughout the show has been tremendous. And everybody knows that if I want to know somebody, I get their cell number, and then I use their cell number.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that Emily's show was 2 years ago now, September 15th, 2 years ago. So that's 2023. So go check out the inventory from that, and you can see that.
And of course, I remember Horst Schulze and
all the good ones. Jerry
Rosen, obviously.
He's coming back, by the way.
Who?
Jerry.
Is coming on the show?
Yeah.
We're working on it. Yeah.
Oh, great. So wait. So I see these two people in a golf cart in Saudi Arabia. One happens to be the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and the person next to him happens to be the President of the United States. And who is in the back of the golf cart?
Jerry
and Zarella.
There you go. Jerry's building cities.
Guys everywhere.
Glenn, what's your favorite? What stands out to you?
There's no one particular episode per se that stands out to me. It's more of the high caliber guests in general that we've been able to achieve. I mean, to have people who were running like the TSA on our show, and you brought up before we went live, Dr. Osterholm, who is running the COVID response team, which was an insane get that Dave got. The late great Harris Rosen, the top CEOs of major hotel companies, just the fact that so many high caliber people would trust us with their reputations and our audience to come onto the show it was mind blowing.
Chip Rogers would come from the White House and come on our show during COVID before he would go on CNBC or ABC or ABC, whatever. But
Chip Rogers is the former president of the American Hotel and Lodging Association.
Glenn, you just said it. Mr. Rosen, who we all admire, the moment, the number one moment was when Mr. Rosen, we had him on twice. And the first time he was, relatively upbeat and, had a good handle of what was going to happen.
And this was April-ish 2020 to give people context.
And then the second time he was on, I remember texting you after or during the show and said, he's devastated. Something's about to happen. And you remember what was going to happen?
Yeah, he basically spent all of his personal fortune keeping the company afloat to pay everybody, and he got to the end, and he had to lay off people, I think, for the first time in 50 years or something like that.
Right. Yeah. What killed him wasn't spending all that money. What killed him was laying off one person.
The layoffs, yeah.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I want to make sure that people think I'm clear on that too. Yeah.
So, Mr. Rosen, at the top of the show, Glenn was talking about the one person who gave us a lot of grief for those technical issues we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's back when we were doing 2 episodes a day, or 2 guests a day, I should say.
Give us about that, Mr. Rosen?
No, it was not.
No. Somebody completely different. Polar opposite personality as Mr. Rosen.
But let me tie it together.
Yeah.
The person that gave us crap was somebody else. But the other person due on that show that day was Mr. Rosen, who had all the grace in the world. He understood that there was a technical issue. He had no problems. He was very excited to get back on when we rescheduled him. Could not have been a better guest to deal with during that situation.
So
text me in the program who the other person was.
We will. We won't say it publicly because it's just not fair.
Of course not. Yeah, of course not.
Being out there, but I will say this, Anthony. I want to share what the technical reason was. We were in front of Bellagio. I guess it's like 9:15 in the morning Vegas time, and we were very new with this broadcasting thing. The sun was baking down and overheated our equipment. Everything thing. And the producer at the time and I were just like, we're screwed and there's nothing we can do about it. And
it was so much worse than that because I didn't have access to StreamYard yet. There was another producer at the time. So I was doing the booking, but I didn't know anything about StreamYard.
Right.
Poor Anthony is on the show. He has no control because he doesn't, the producer has all the access.
right.
So he's just sitting there trying to stall. Well, we have no idea what's going on. I'm getting calls from Mr. Rosen's people.
I think it was him and Chris Green just going, what's going
on?
on?
Chris Green trying to hold it down, and we couldn't even turn the show off.
Or bring them in to just take it because they didn't have control over the studio.
But I want to bring it back 1 second because Anthony and you both just talked about the upper level people we had on the show and the credibility we brought. And my favorite one, as you said, Glenn, is Dr. Osterholm.
Mm-hmm.
His people vetted us like you would not believe before he came on, right? He's doing all of the things. He's doing CNN. He's doing ABC News. He's doing all of the things. And this is also during a very challenging time where, who you speak to is very, very perceptive and people were very scared, nervous, but also very reactive. And there were a lot of back and forth about who we were, who we talked to, who our show is. And through all of that, the only reason he came on the show was because they saw the power in what you guys were doing and your voices and the fairness in your voices and who you were speaking to. And that shows, nobody else is getting him on their show. I fully believe that, talking about our competitors. Yeah. And the fact that you guys were able to create this episode, this format that spoke to someone like Dr. Osterholm to feel comfortable coming on not once, but twice.
Yep.
That gave us a legitimacy that it just took us to a different level.
Yeah. Actually, when he was on, I was like, wow, we got him. So, yeah, congratulations on getting him. And I remember when we were talking in the green room, he said, hey, man, I used to like watching your show. And I was like, wow,
yeah,
he knows Hotel Impossible.
I remember that.
And he was also a very even-handed man. I really enjoyed it. Listen, I would say 90% of our guests, maybe more, 95% of our guests, I really, really enjoyed it. And it's shocking, they were all really good. Like people, if you make people feel safe, I learned that when I was doing my TV show. My producers would go in before I would go in. I never knew anybody. I never knew what the hotel looked like. But my producers would have to go 2 or 3 days before, obviously, to see where the hotel is and make a schedule and get people to sign paperwork. And I learned over the period of time when I was there, people would come to me and go, "You have the best crew." Like the nicest people, the most authentic people, and they made everybody feel safe. So people would always say, I'm never going to tell Anthony really what's going on. He's not going to make me cry on TV. I'm not going to do it. Within 30 seconds, people were crying. And I finally realized why. It wasn't me. It had to do with people feeling safe because of my crew. And the reason I think a lot of people come to the show and people like is because you guys did a really good job of making people feel safe and making people feel comfortable and making people feel like we're not going to, this is not a got you show.
Yeah.
But, I will tell you that I've held back a couple of times because I felt Glenn was about to kill me. And he never told me, hey, calm down. But there's a couple of times I was about to go after somebody. And because it's not my nature, but I'm not going to stop doing it if I feel like somebody's full of shit. And a couple of times I really wanted to say something a little bit more aggressively, and Glenn stopped me. But that's what's great about this show. The show is not that show. It's not about I'm gonna hold you accountable all the time. It's just about getting people's opinion. And the thing that the problem with where we are right now as a country and as a world is there's only two sides, and if you're not on my side, there's no other side. And I think we did a good job of hearing everyone.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm always on the correct side of things. Daniel is also saying, hey, the live show at Roxbury was my favorite. So long ago, I'll never forget. Dave, that came up before we went on air as well.
That's come up a lot of times in the past since we've done that show. So the Catskills version of the show was wonderful. The Roxbury show was absolutely spectacular. Anthony almost undersold how amazing that place was when you actually see it in person. The commute from the Catskills to the Roxbury, not as wonderful.
Oh my God, we almost all died in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
We did, but it was fun because we got up to Resorts World up in Monticello on Sunday. I don't know where you were. Dave and I watched the Super Bowl. The next day, we had the stuff over at Roxbury. I mean, over at
Resorts
World, did a show, stayed there. I think then maybe you came up that morning, Monday morning, stayed over.
I remember being in the middle of a farm in a snowdrift thinking I was going to die.
Well, yeah, and then on Tuesday morning it was snowing and we had to get up to Roxbury. Dave, what happened? What happened?
What happened was we were driving in the snow through the Catskill Mountains with no cell service. Our GPSs did not realize it was snowing, so it sent us on this one random road that was all summer homes that were closed up for the winter. So they didn't plow it, they didn't treat it.
That's right.
And we all drove individually. So
Wait, also the road was a giant S curve
very
the entire
windy.
way up the mountain.
So it's super slick. There's no cell service. We all drove independently because we were going to go home after that. So we were all broken up apart. Each of us had our own little issues getting around this road. I think one of us or two of us slipped off the road, actually.
I did.
And we couldn't actually communicate and say, hey, I'm stuck. Please help. Because, again, no cell service. And, again, these roads that were tightened up for summer homes. So there was no other traffic on the road. There was no emergency services going on the road. There was no plowing being done. So if you're stuck there, I told you before the show, Glenn, I was looking at these houses like, okay, when I get stuck here, which one am I breaking into to get warm and call the police? Because it's going to happen.
Yeah, it got really scary. But I want to back up a little bit and just give me a second, because Gregory and Joseph, there were a couple, and they owned the Roxbury. One was in finance, and one was a
Designer for theater.
Designer for theater. And Gregory was also an actor. And they decided to take whatever money they had and just leave New York City and buy this little crappy hotel, a Hotel Impossible kind of hotel, a motel, and they put money into it. And
it's an exterior corridor deal, the whole old school thing.
And they started to build a brand. And then they bought a waterfall, which I didn't know you can buy, Stratton Falls. And then they put millions of dollars in, and they built this unbelievable destination in the middle of nowhere in Roxbury. But what I want to kind of pay tribute to is I have never met better hoteliers. They came up with a kit, a media kit, before really AI and anything else was really big, to generate funding from the government. They got the biggest funding from New York State in the history of business, okay, because of this video collage they put together. Then they put a contract together for the construction of Stratton Falls that was literally 12 inches thick. And I read through it. It's the best contract I've ever read in my life, that didn't allow for a lot of work changes. So when they had all these overruns, they didn't have to pay for all these overruns because they built such a beautiful contract that, and again, they did it by themselves. Then during the whole time of them building this thing, they were buying all kinds of antiques off the internet. And then when they built it meticulously, from the plumbing to the electric to the pool pump to every single thing they did, would you think they would have a team of departments of 100 people? It was just them. And then they built it. They ran it at the highest level, 5-star level, got on CBS this morning, blew up. And then they sold it recently. And hopefully it was okay. I know Joe was not feeling well, and I really haven't spoken to him in a while.
I think they also got tired, right?
Yeah, I've been tired the first day.
It's a lot. Yeah.
This went online recently, and I was like, "There's no way anybody's holding this thing together without them." And so far, the reviews are pretty good. They're actually very good. So good. I'm glad to see that the old team that stayed has really maintained it. But the reason I wanted to kind of take that second is because these people, without hotel degrees or without ever running hotels before, have absolutely annihilated it, killed it, and did an spectacular job. I stayed there with my family, and still one of the best stays we've ever had.
And you gotta go check that episode out about 4 years ago. I'm looking at it right now. It's that was one of the best shows for sure. I mean, I'm just gonna pull it up really, really quick because there's a good shot right that I just stopped on that has literally all of kind of the details, right? So Glenn's in one of the rooms, they're in another one of the cottages, Anthony's in a different cottage, and then I'm walking around the bottom left of the other different cottages. Look at the attention to detail in all these different rooms. I mean, you can't fake that.
They did everything outside of that ceiling above them was done by a local artist, but everything else, all the forms, the pumpkins, the Cinderella dress, was all done by Joe. And when you see Gregory, who's in the orange or the green, looking at Joe, that's exactly how he feels about Joe. They are so in love. They're such a great couple. But I want to know something, and I'm very like it's really kind of weirding me out. Can you please go back to that screen?
Of course I can.
It's a little scary. I did not know that Glenn was a 1973 DJ.
Me and Wolfman Jack used to party together. Yeah.
Dude, you look like you have such a like a welcoming face, but in that picture, you have like a face I want to punch.
It's all the hair, I think. It's all that.
It's got to be the hair over there for sure. All right, so some other notable live shows that I recall. One of the coolest was broadcasting live from Times Square in New York City.
Yeah.
That was freaking awesome.
You remember looking at me in that hotel that I started at was there anymore.
Yeah, right. I also loved when we interviewed Tyler Morse of MCR and the Connie Jet at the TWA hotel at JFK. That was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, I loved it.
For me, I'm a sucker for our first Mohegan Sun broadcast where we had the casino as the background and we were up in the Crystal Bar. And another one I was thinking of was doing it in the Riggs Bank Vault. I thought that was really cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
We just recently did it the Hard Rock with my friend who's
that was great too.
That was a good one. Yeah.
George, I really love that because we hadn't seen each other since the day we left the Plaza Hotel in 1993. We haven't seen each other, and we literally fell back in love in seconds. And I remember when we realized we worked together before we were getting ready for the interview. I said to him, and I just said it on air, is like I always remember him being kind. And the Plaza Hotel, we called it at the time. That's when Home Alone 2. That's when the current president used to own it. We were going through bankruptcy. We had every A-list celebrity, so we had to run it like a 100-star hotel. So it was a lot of pressure. And they called it the Plaza for a reason, because it was a zoo. Mm-hmm. And I always remember how kind he was to me, because the front desk was the controller of the world in a hotel like that. And so if you were nice to me, you got everything you wanted. If you weren't nice to me, you got nothing you wanted. And he was always very, very kind. He was the food and beverage director at the Oak Room. And he was always a gentleman. And now he's the vice president of Harvard.
Yep.
And, and actually it's funny. Out of that hotel, everybody that was on our mid-management team that made it through that hotel went on to become pretty much rock stars in our industry.
Please check out that show. I don't know the exact date. At November of 2024.
I'll find it out.
And I remember hugging him after he just got out of the gym, and he was all sweaty, and he goes, "Don't hug me." I gotta hug you. And then I was like,
maybe I should have.
It was streamed 1 year ago.
Just 1 year. I realized how many memories we have. Oh my God!
I remember one of my biggest life lessons was on that Mohegan Sun remote off air with Mr. Malkiri. And
go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah. You remember. So
I remember it vividly.
This was actually one of the first times that me and Anthony.
I remember saying to myself, "You're such a dumbass."
You didn't say it to yourself. You said it to me. So we did this. So we go up to Mohegan. Glenn and I stayed over the night before. Anthony came up the next day. Anthony and I didn't really know each other at this point. Again, I met him a few times. I think twice. We had done almost nothing together at that point. So it's really the first time Anthony worked with me and knew kind of who I was.
Right, because the first 6 months we were doing the live show, we had a different producer before you stepped up. So
correct. Mm-hmm. So I was behind his booking, but I wasn't in the daily functioning. So we do the show. The show goes really well. Me and Anthony are running around the casino doing the on the go. Show's over. We have dinner. We go down to the tables. We're playing. There's no poker, so we're playing some blackjack. I am unemployed, young family. I'm like, I can't gamble. Anthony, being the gracious guy he is, says, "Here's a couple bucks. Go and play." Okay. I go and play at a different table than he was at, and I won, I think, $100. And I was like, "Okay, I'm good. I'm done." And like the normal person I am, I'm thinking, okay, well, I still have his money. Let me return his money back. I had a little profit. Yay, go me. He looked like when I was handing him his money, like he wanted to basically slap me in the face with the money. He wanted to take the money and slap me in the face with it, because he's like, "I gave you this money. This is a gift from me. You don't need to give it back to me. Don't give it back to me." I'm like, "Oh, I have to. I'm good. I won. All this. I appreciate your graciousness." He's like, "If you hand me this money, it's going on the table." And I said, Okay. So he took it out of my hand and put it on the table. The dealer promptly got 21 to Anthony's, I think, like showing like 16. Money is gone. I'm like, oh my God, what did you do? If you remember my face, Anthony, I'm like, what just happened? He's like, here's your lesson. Anybody gives you money, you take it and say thank you. That's your lesson now. Now it's the casino's. It's not yours anymore. I was like,
and I remember it was like 400.
I wasn't going to say the amount, but yes, it was $400.
Dude, that was a lot in COVID days when you have a young family.
Take the money, and I said to him, "I'm going to put it all on one, and I hope I lose it." And
exactly
I put one, and I lost it, and I was like, "Good for you."
That's exactly what happened, word for word, how it happened. And so, yeah, a life lesson was learned for me that day, which is take the money. Take the money. But I remember listen, I remember it so vividly. It really was like a life lesson. Again, I didn't even know you like that at that point. And it was just a great life lesson for me is, don't, someone gave you a gift, take the gift.
Listen, as long as people say thank you, and I learned that a long time ago. My mother actually taught me that. It was like, when somebody gives you something, say thank you and move on. Like and I've also been in positions where when, like, if somebody says, like, take it, and you go, no, and they go, take it, the second take it is take it. Because you're insulting them. Right? Not that you insulted me, I don't mean it that way, but
I know.
No, I get it. There's a lot of hotels. There's a lot of hotels and stuff that they won't let you take a tip unless someone insists like 3 times or something like that.
Right. Do you remember, Anthony, at the Washington, D.C. remote, your reaction to the Xena burger?
Oh, yeah. It was like, this is the best burger I've ever had in my life.
No, but you're selling yourself short. Right? You literally took a bite, put the burger down, ran around the hotel to find the chef to tell him. That's how impressed you were with it.
And, talking about moments, you just mentioned a former person. I won't even say what his title was, but you've never seen me lose my temper, Glenn, the way you saw me lose my temper.
Oh, I remember that day.
Oh, I did see it because I was the one who did the second go around with you, if you don't recall.
I didn't lose my temper with you.
You're talking about when we're doing the recording?
No, we're talking about you weren't there. It was just me, Glenn. We were in the green.
Oh, okay, something different.
It was somebody. This person insulted me like I've never been insulted before in my life, and I waited 3 weeks to ask him about it, and not to go through it. But I was calm. I didn't react to it the whole time. And for 3 weeks, I was like, I am so angry. And I was very calm when I said, hey, just so you know, this is what happened. Just expecting like, hey, man, didn't mean anything by it, an apology. He tripled down on it.
Oh.
And Glenn, to this day, I don't think he's ever seen me come 1% close to that.
No.
I know we were talking about when we were trying to film the commencement speech down in DC.
Oh my God, the commencement speech.
Oh, that's when I wanted to kill you. You suck.
Yes.
I had to come back. Wasn't I shooting something?
You got to set it up. People don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So we were in DC. We're doing the remote. Glenn had this really fancy room with the rigs, like the biggest suite they had. And Anthony had to film a speech as a commencement speech. And so we had a teleprompter app. We had the iPad set up. I was sitting in the corner of the floor because I had to look away.
Now, I will say it was my first commencement speech. It was during COVID, so they had to do it remotely. These kids didn't get a graduation. It was my alma mater, Park University. It was really, really important to me. I had the robe and the thing and everything. And these kids aren't getting a graduation. The only thing they're getting is an idiot in a hat in a hotel room talking to them.
So, right. And we got a full dose of intensity. That's for sure.
Yes. So we had to figure it all out. And very long story short, it took us a number of takes because rightfully so, Anthony wanted to get it perfectly.
Takes. I left. I came back 3 days later. You were still doing it.
We went back.
You had to because you screwed up the audio.
There you go. So,
but with all fairness, I put you under the gun. You weren't ready for my level of intensity. Most people aren't. And you weren't familiar with the equipment or how to do it. And I gave you the benefit of the doubt until I didn't. And then I don't think I was an asshole, but I think
you weren't at all. No.
I was pretty intense. But yeah, I guess you've all kind of experienced that level of intensity that people have seen for years.
Yeah. Well, I will say that we have gone through the gauntlet on the show, from the lowest lows to the highest highs, and it's been so much fun doing all these live broadcasts with you guys over all of these years. And I will say, for all of you people out there, you can suck it up, and you can suck it up pretty good for a while you're learning. Everything is forgivable, and we definitely learned, and we got a lot of forgiveness from the audience, particularly in those early days where we were screwing up and everyone was on our side, hoping that we would succeed. So,
and the
thanks for that.
I like seeing competition in everything, is including people who compete against us. Is you can do it. Like when I first started my TV career in 2011, you couldn't do TV. You couldn't become known. You couldn't do a TV show about the hotel business unless an agent brought it to a production company liked it. Production company sold it to a network. The network gave you a lot of money to produce it. And then somebody said they liked it, and it stayed on TV for a long time. And everything was out of my control. The only thing I can control is when that camera went on, that I controlled my environment. But everything else was out of my control. If I stayed on another day, another year, how much money they gave me, how much money they didn't give me, I had zero control over my career for 10 years of doing television. Today, if you want to do whatever you want to do, whether you want to be a podcaster, whatever you want to do, the only thing stopping you is you. Mm-hmm. And the people who say, oh, it's hard, everything's hard. Go clean 18 toilet bowls a day. It's hard. But today, it is insane. Matter of fact, somebody asked me about my new TV show, Hotel All-Stars. They had seen it. And they go, where did I see that? And they go, you saw it on YouTube. They go, YouTube? I thought I saw it on the network. I said, no, you saw it on YouTube. Because everything's going to YouTube.
Yeah.
You don't need a network. As a matter of fact, networks are dead. They're putting pickleball courts into MGM Studios, I think, in California or something. I mean, it's ridiculous what's happening in the industry. And I just met a guy at I went to get some for one of the holiday parties they threw, some waters and sodas. And this guy's a technician on reality TV. And he sees me, he goes, oh, I love your show, whatever. He goes, I almost worked on your show one day, but whatever. And I said, how's it going? He goes, it's going terrible. He goes, I can't work.
Everybody I know in that media is out of work for a long time now. It's really bad. People are selling their homes. They're moving, people our age are financially destroyed. It's been really, really rough.
Yeah. But you have the control of taking the next step, because it's no longer about somebody else. It's about you and how much effort. That's why one of the things, Glenn, you work harder, 10 times harder than I do on social media and on this show. And you're killing it all the time. And so when people say, oh, man, Glenn's so lucky, he knows everybody, I literally say, F you, lucky. Don't use that word lucky. Because this man has been in every friggin' boring conference, having more like...
I love your conferences. Keep inviting me.
Some of them are good, some of them suck. But, every you spoke to every person. Yeah. You've been to every single cocktail party. You've taken every, meeting, and you've taken tens of thousands of meetings with people, and that's why your Rolodex is 10 times the size of everybody else's. So luck has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. True. A lot of hard work, a lot of effort, and I'm definitely tired. And I think going to a recorded schedule will make things a little bit easier, at least. And
you're really a standard of showing people with zero talent and hard work, you can do so much.
Oh,
I could do it. You could do it. So, all right. So, because of that, screw you, Anthony. I'm gonna do this right now. I had to switch stuff, guys. Don't get all.
What are we doing?
You didn't prepare me for this part, okay?
No, I don't prepare anybody for anything. I'm trying to find.
Why you don't touch the buttons?
I'm trying to find a very specific clip. Hey, happy birthday, Anthony. So you deserve that.
Oh, goodness. Are you okay?
I think on that note, I'm gonna.
You guys have any final words before we let you two go and Anthony and I wrap up?
Listen, honestly, for me, it's
somebody call 911.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't unsee that. That might kill my sleep.
You play with fire, Anthony. You're gonna get burnt.
As Glenn's hand can attest.
You know that thing that they like. I never want to see that again, but you really want to see it one more time?
No. We do not need to see that again. I will even just say this. Thank you for being an amazing family. It has been a joy to work with you guys for the last 4 years and deliver amazing content to our industry to try and make informed change of where we're going. And so your friendship has meant the world.
Thanks, Suzanne. Dave, anything you got to say?
Similar. Just thanks. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll say just thank you guys for letting me, work on this show. And I mean, again, when I got laid off or furloughed, what do you want to call it, back in 2020, and I was able to come on and do this more full time. I mean, it was basically 8 hours, 9 hours a day working on this show between getting all the guests and the prep show. So it was
crazy.
Gave me a lot of stuff to do and keep busy and get involved, and to get to the level of success we've had with this show. Again, maybe only in my own mind, I feel I had a small part in that, and I feel proud of that. So
you did. Big part.
People ask me, sometimes, John, what are you most proud of in your career? And it comes to this show, actually, helping build this show to where
I didn't know your career was going that badly. We should talk after this.
Well, it's really just great, to see the success of this show, and I'm happy to be part of it. And thank you guys for allowing me to be. And I look forward to the next chapters. We're still going to be here. So,
Dave, I don't mean to argue with you, but we're not allowing you to be here, man. You freaking are amazing because you stepped up. You found me. You worked your ass off, and you have created something for yourself. So I'm really proud of what you've done. You too.
Great. Dave, you and I have a lot of conversations offline about different things in your career, and you're like a sponge, and you listen. And I have a lot of people I'm very fortunate to mentor and talk to, but 80% of them don't listen to a freaking word I say. And so I stopped taking their phone calls. Because it's like, you don't need to listen to my advice, but you need to do something. You can take my advice and do the opposite, but just do it. I don't care if you take my advice, but don't do nothing and then complain that nothing's happening. And you're a person that, whether you take it or don't take it, you're always doing something and you're always trying. And I always admire that about you.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, guys. We will see you behind the scenes on our recorded programs. Take care. So, sorry, Dave. All right, so it comes down to just us. Thanks for everything, Anthony.
Well, you know what? I was going to say thanks for everything too, and thanks for introducing me to so many people. But that cake, like that you just did, like on video, like I might have to go see a psychiatrist over that.
I would recommend you doing that. And since you loved it so much, let me see if we can find. Oh no, it's happening.
How long did it take you to make that?
I didn't make it. Craig made that for Friday Night Audit.
Oh, for whose birthday?
It might have been mine originally or somebody else's. I don't know. But now we use it to hurt everybody's feelings every time they have a birthday.
I think when you jump from the cake, you're showing just a little bit too much at the bottom of your stomach. Dave
said not enough. But I don't know what Dave's into these days.
It's more than enough. Listen, man, we I think you and I have a different opinion about competition, and people who are competing against us, trying to take our spot or trying to take advertising.
That honestly,
let them keep coming because they're doing a good job. I think it's good for everybody. And they working their asses off. So I think it's good for everyone. No one's gonna outpace you. You work hard than everybody else.
I'm not worried. I will say this. I've always had this philosophy with my whole career. You don't have to fight against others. We're in the most amazing business, and there's room for everybody to thrive and be successful. So as long as we continue to work hard and put out good, positive energy into the universe, we're going to do great right here. And you guys are going to do great as well, because us moving to a recorded format is going to allow us to bring you better material as opposed to trying to fit busy people into a very specific time slot. So thank you guys for sticking with us for 950 plus episodes. Anthony and I also did checking in with Anthony and Glenn for at least 100 and something before we combine the shows. We got to do that. Also, Daniel was saying maybe we should do one live show a month or something like that too. So that's something we should think about. Maybe just you and me screwing around or something like that.
We can do it easily.
All right. So we'll see you guys next time. Next week, just so you know what's going on, I'll be at the NYU Hospitality Investment Conference, and I've got a speaking engagement with the amazing folks over at Stonebridge. I'll be hosting their event, so I'm going to get a lot of content from NYU and Stonebridge. Then we're going to start recording our shows, I think the week of June 9th, and we'll get going on this brand new schedule. So thanks for all the love, particularly over the last 5 years. Thank you all for supporting us and helping me find success in my life through bringing you news every single day. And Anthony, any final words?
No, it's been one of those things I didn't know where it was going to go, and it's taken us to a lot of really cool places.
Yeah, another cool place it could take you is, hey, listen to all this. Like, subscribe, share, download all of our shows, follow us on the socials and all of that kind of stuff. Until we see you back here in recorded format, remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
Thanks for all the love. See you later.